Well, hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast, brought to you by, of course, the Wellness Company, which is always a great pleasure to support them, twc.health/grant. Get one of these emergency medical kits. It's great for you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hey, here's my deal today, and this is big. I want you to know that the honeymoon is over for President Trump. The reality is the greatest threat to President Trump's presidency is going to be Republicans. Nothing has made this more clear to me than what happened to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz should be the next Attorney General of the United States. Every one of these Republican senators should get in line. And the bottom line is this isn't about checks and balances. This is about blocking a president from your own party from getting who he wanted as his Attorney General. So we can go through all of the scam of the ethics report, how behind the scenes they were working against Matt Gaetz, which I guarantee you they were behind the scenes, that this idea that it wasn't going to be released was a public statement as they're talking to Matt Gaetz saying, hey, you better step down, otherwise we will release it. The DOJ never pressed charges against him, which then tells me that the DOJ didn't have anything on him. Because if anybody, the DOJ wanted to get their mitts on under the Biden administration, it would have been a guy like Matt Gaetz. So what we now have is a party that is still fractured. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Markwayne Mullin, Mitch McConnell, this new guy from Utah. These people standing in the way of President Trump. This is a huge loss for President Trump. Make no mistake about it. This is a loss for President Trump. It is revenge of the RINOs. That's what my slate, my thumbnail for this podcast says. That's what it is. And President Trump needs to take this as a warning. This battle is not going to be fought easily. I was saying earlier today that we are under a satanic attack in America. People think it's from the radical left, and it is. But Satan's work also works through people that are closest to us. Our enemies are often very close at hand. And I believe the deep state working with establishment Republicans like Murkowski, like McConnell, these are enemies. They're going to do great destruction to the United States. How dare they not give us Matt Gaetz? So that, folks, is what I want to talk to on the podcast today. But before I get there and start the program off, energizedhealth.com/grant. This is about cellular hydration, folks. It is so important to get on board. Energizedhealth.com/grant. Energizedhealth.com/grant. It's about getting in shape at a cellular level, getting hydrated. That's where the secret is in all of this. I eat differently. I've changed my diet around, but I'm still eating many of the same things. I lost 15 pounds right off the bat. My visceral fat is down. My muscle mass is up. My skin has gotten clearer. My mental clarity is better. I'm hydrated at a cellular level. All of this backed by patent-pending science. They give you daily videos along the way, weekly live Zoom calls along the way. There's a live coaching component to all of this. There's the plans and guidebooks. Every step is there to help you. So here's what I want you to do. Go to energizedhealth.com/grant. Energizedhealth.com/grant. Get hydrated at a cellular level and take your life back. All right. If you want to lose 200 pounds or 20 pounds or 5 pounds, take your life back with energizedhealth.com. I truly support these people. All right. With that, folks, what is going on in Washington, D.C.? It is people like this that I have a real problem with. This is Susan Collins.
I was shocked by the nomination. Given the many allegations, but that's why it's important that the Senate go through its process of making sure that we have a background check, that we have a Senate investigation, which involves extensive interviews and questionnaires, and then a public hearing.
Look, she knows who Matt Gaetz is, and she doesn't like him because he's a real conservative and he's a firebrand. Anybody that's going to go into DOJ, that's going to have DOJ employees lawyering up and then running like cockroaches, that's who I want. Lisa Murkowski, along with Mitch McConnell, along with Markwayne Mullin, along with this new elected Senator Curtis from Utah, along with Murkowski. These are the people that sunk this. Now, here's what I want you to know, and that's not being talked about. There are Republicans in the United States Congress on that ethics commission that also enabled these senators to sink this. This is about McCarthy. They're still upset about that, and they're gnashing their teeth. And they're not going to stop gnashing their teeth until we get all of these RINOs replaced. I mean this. It's about as important as it could possibly be to get them replaced. It's slowly happening, but not quick enough. Now, why are they so afraid of Matt Gaetz? To me, it is very clear why they're afraid of Matt Gaetz. Because of this.
The FBI and Department of Justice were weaponized, and Trump was specifically targeted. The report takes great lengths to point out the number of times where Trump was targeted in a way no other American would be. And in essence, the FBI has now become a disinformation and election interference enterprise here in our country.
You hear what he just said? The FBI is an election interference and disinformation enterprise in our country. Now, as Attorney General, Gaetz would have had oversight on this. Now we got Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is going to be fierce. We're going to talk about her a little bit later in the program, and I'll go through why I believe Pam Bondi is going to be a great Attorney General, and she'll be whisked through because her experience is, they can't touch it, okay? Matt Gaetz was too much of a firebrand for the bureaucrats to take. So the deep state gets with these Republicans in Congress and they concoct this ethics report. We know that it was filled with sensationalistic garbage, but they were going to release it. Now, could some of it be true? Maybe. But nothing, in my opinion, from what I've looked at, was illegal. I don't think the underage trafficking charge was even close to being reality. Not even close. DOJ would have been on that like you know what, and they weren't. So you have Republicans in the House of Representatives working with Republicans in the United States Senate, not to push President Trump's picks through, but to sink President Trump's picks. This Make America Great Again movement, this root out the deep state, this get back to the basics, this limit government, oh my gosh. For the deep state, it is a death sentence for them. And they know it's a death sentence for them. So now they're going to do everything they can do to stop President Trump. So my warning is, Mr. President, it's Matt Gaetz today. It's going to be a piece of legislation tomorrow. It's going to be tax on tips. It's going to be anything that you want. They're going to try to stop because they know you're going to steal votes from Democrats. I shouldn't say steal them. You're going to take votes from Democrats. And they're going to do everything they can do to stop you because only Democrats allow the deep state to operate unless, of course, you're an establishment RINO Republican with their self-interest in mind, not national interest. And this happens at every single level. Here's a guy that I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm having more and more respect for this guy. I almost have the respect for John Fetterman that I have for Bernie Sanders. Now, you're going to say, what? Stinchfield has respect for Bernie Sanders? I have respect for Bernie Sanders, and I think he's one of the only members of the United States Senate that actually believes what he's pushing. Okay? He actually believes this from a Democrat perspective. I don't think Bernie Sanders is trying to be devious and ruin the country. I actually believe he believes what he's pushing, communism. He believes it's best for the country. Okay, I can respect you for that. Hillary Clinton, she doesn't believe it. She wants power, right? John Fetterman believes this radical liberal nonsense, but he's also kind of a funny guy. And as he recovers from his neurological damage, he becomes funnier and funnier. Watch this.
Dropping out.
Holy shit, I didn't see that coming.
Oh.
I mean, yes, he was the ultimate troll, and people have the opportunity, they can freak out over things, and respond. And if you want to do that, you don't have to. You better pace yourself, though, because it's not even Thanksgiving. And we don't have to react and take unserious things so seriously that the world's going to spin off its axis the way it is right now. But I just heard something. I heard that Trump is going to issue a new silver dollar to commemorate that. So I think that's going to be the next cycle.
So what does that even mean? Trump's going to commemorate a silver dollar to what? Commemorate Gaetz? I don't know. This is where I mean, like, he's not quite recovered from his neurological damage, but you see what he does. He recognizes Matt Gaetz as the troll that he is, and let's face it, Matt Gaetz is a troll. You know who else is a troll? President Trump. You know who else is a troll? Me. I love to trigger these people, okay? And so I will say and do things, everything I believe, by the way, but I certainly know it's going to troll and trigger them. T squared. A troll and trigger. So Fetterman's aware of that. He's aware of the game going on. He knows what's at play. You got to respect that. And truth is, he's kind of funny. I wish he would put a real suit on instead of the dirty, 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 dirty sweatsuit that he's got on here. And it is a dirty, dirty, dirty sweatsuit. I have more of these clips I want to get to. I want to tell you, though, about my friends over at get21now.com. Up to 21% monthly income, folks. 21% on your investment. Annualized interest paid monthly. All right? This is fabulous. So I have made this investment with them. They've lived up to all of their promises. I get a direct deposit every month in my bank account like clockwork. No employees, no rent to pay, no utilities, no inventory, no nothing. And I'm making 21% on my investment. I love this. Get21now.com. What is it? It's about Bitcoin mining, industrialized, high-level Bitcoin mining that they mine the Bitcoin in these huge warehouses where they buy the electricity super cheap and really bright guys running this thing. They sell the Bitcoin on the market the next day. So they're not engaging in price fluctuations, which it's up, it's down. Is it at 100 yet now, by the way? I don't know. It's almost $100,000. Bitcoin's up, it's down. I don't have to worry about all that. I can take advantage and profit off Bitcoin, but I don't have to worry about the wild price fluctuations. Get21now.com. I love these guys. Talk to them about investing with them. Really. See how much is right for you, but it's a cool deal. It really is. Get21now.com. All right. So Fetterman talks. Now, what about Pam Bondi now as a possibility as Attorney General? Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General in Florida, smoke show of a woman, very, very smart. She used to come on my Newsmax show all the time. When I was back at Newsmax, Pam Bondi was coming on, and she was great. Then she got to deal with Fox, and I think she couldn't come on that much anymore. But here's what I love. MSNBC wants to prove why Pam Bondi shouldn't be Attorney General. So they play this clip, and MSNBC proceeds to prove exactly why Pam Bondi should be Attorney General. This is how dumb they are over at MSNBC.
Any good reality TV star, you probably remember Pam Bondi best from her many, many, many appearances on television, and specifically Fox News television. Miss Bondi even filled in as a guest host on Fox 3 times while she was still the sitting Attorney General of Florida.
Okay, good. What's the problem with that? She's a Republican in Florida. We know where she stands. I'm sure she was a guest host on an opinion show. No problems there.
And she spent plenty of time on the network since she left office.
Murderers, rapists from Venezuelan prisoners coming straight into our country. They are coming to a town near you. It should scare and terrify everyone in this country. This is just one big press conference trying to smear Donald Trump, trying to hurt Donald Trump.
We do have evidence of cheating, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but we are still on the ground in Pennsylvania. I'm here right now, and we are not going anywhere until they declare that we won Pennsylvania.
That last clip you saw there was from just after the 2020 election when Pam Bondi was promoting the big lie that Trump had won the election.
we have now proven the big lie to be true after this election, where Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, lost 10 million votes, just disappeared, poof, nowhere to be found. We know it was a lie in 2020. Fine, it's past us. We're doing what we could do, and we still have to move further on securing this election. Boy, I heard some stuff on Dallas County. I don't want to get off topic, but Dallas County, maybe after I get through with Republicans being the greatest threat to Trump's presidency, I'll tell you a little bit about what I've just found out about Dallas County elections. Maybe the worst run election in not just Dallas County history, maybe American history. What we found out happened over the last early voting and into Election Day this year, this is stunning. Ballots not counted, ballots jamming, all maybe on purpose. Whew, you got to hear this story. I'm going to tell it to you a little bit later, all right? So they continue on Pam Bondi that she's an election denier.
Bondi was, again, part of Trump's legal team that tried and failed to prove Trump's election conspiracies in court, filing multiple lawsuits on Trump's behalf in battleground states. And she has been one of his most loyal foot soldiers ever since then.
Do you not understand, MSNBC? That is exactly why she needs to be President Trump's next attorney general. So what did President Trump do the last time around? We had Bill Barr as the attorney general. That guy wasn't loyal. What did Joe Biden do? Joe Biden put Merrick Garland in as attorney general. That guy was loyal. Beta male, loser, liar, deceitful, criminal. What else? All kinds of things. More immorally corrupt, right? But he was loyal to Joe Biden. He did Joe Biden's bidding. Truth is, you know what? I want a Justice Department to be fair, and I only want them to prosecute criminals. And this even goes for Democrats. I don't want them to go after any Democrat that didn't commit a crime. I don't. That's what they do to us. That's what they do. There's plenty of Democrats that committed crimes, by the way. The Justice Department will be very busy. But I also want an attorney general that is loyal to the president that put him there. It's imperative. Has to be. Because don't forget, President Trump is the president, the commander-in-chief, to oversee all of these agencies. This is why he appoints people to his cabinet. So yes, I want loyalty.
She even stood by Trump's side during his Manhattan criminal trials and defended him outside the courthouse.
Listen, all the rights here, I'm a prosecutor, former prosecutor. Yeah, all the rights here go to the defendant because it's his liberty at stake, and that has not been happening in this courtroom. This case should have never, ever been brought.
Thank you, Pam
All
Bondi.
of that is why Donald Trump chose Pam Bondi to be his pick for attorney general. She will be every bit the loyalist that Matt Gaetz would have been, just with a little more legal experience and a little less baggage.
Which maybe makes her more dangerous. The FBI is so corrupt right now. We need a new leader. Now, we'll talk about that as well, but Kash Patel is my number one pick to lead the FBI. This has to be the guy. Mike Rogers, not so much. Mike Rogers, I had friends of mine that were the Benghazi badasses. Mike Rogers was not in search of the truth when it came to Benghazi. Yes, I supported Mike Rogers in his quest for a Senate seat in Michigan because he was the Republican running. So yeah, I'm going to support him for that. I need a Republican there. I'm not going to support the Democrat. But he lost that race. He should not be the director of the FBI. Now, I'm hearing from friends close to President Trump that President Trump realizes that there's some problems with Mike Rogers. He may be a little too establishment. This is not the guy for the FBI, which then leaves Kash Patel, maybe Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton, also a very good friend of mine, the attorney general here in Texas, the best attorney general in the country. He has taken the fight like no other attorney general has to the Biden administration. Would he make a great director of the FBI? Absolutely. I'm still going with Kash Patel early. One, I don't want to really lose Ken Paxton as my attorney general here in Texas. We need him. And you know why we need him? You watch, folks. This is one small victory for President Trump. Winning. Is it a big victory? Of course. But it's just one in a series of victories that we need. This has only started the process. This country's under a satanic attack. You think that attack goes away? You think because President Trump goes, the radicals stop? the devil stops infusing himself into the soul of these blind liberal zombies that are literally trying to destroy America? No, if anything, they're going to fight even harder. We're going to need people, warriors in Washington, to push back against this right now. So here's how I know that the Democrats are scared of Pam Bondi. You heard a little bit from her, the last host. This is MSNBC. Listen to this pundit and what he says, because here he is very, very correct.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Yeah, and I want to discuss that with a little more depth with both of you, including her record on civil rights, LGBTQ rights, and other issues that are front and center at the DOJ, and which we know.
She doesn't want men in women's bathrooms. That's what he's going to get at right there. But think about what the last guy says. She knows what she's doing. She's well experienced. She's run an office of the Attorney General in Florida, which is, one of the largest states in the country. Pam Bondi's awesome pick. So let's roll with Pam Bondi. That's what I say, because she'll be great. Now, back to the FBI pick. It has to be Kash Patel, and I mean that. Because once he gets inside the FBI, he already knows where skeletons are buried. Remember, he was the chief of staff to acting director of national intelligence, I believe. He was one of President Trump's top advisors along the way. He worked inside the Justice Department as a prosecutor, so he's worked with the FBI. He's going to get in there, and I promise you, the FBI and FBI agents that were waging war against President Trump are going to run for the hills. But before they run for the hills, they're going to be setting landmines. They're going to be blowing stuff up. I also think they're going to be destroying evidence, which is why I said we've got to get this guy in sooner than later. And I think somehow we've got to get a watchdog into the FBI even before President Trump is sworn in, because I believe maybe it's the General Accounting Office to go do a GAO investigation, put everything under seal. I believe the FBI is a giant crime scene. And I believe what's happening right now is the destruction of evidence. You know that there are FBI agents at every level destroying all kinds of evidence that they concocted against President Trump. The emails going back and forth that show that collusion. All of this is being destroyed as we speak. I am convinced that is what's going on. So if the FBI is a crime scene, who better to get in there than an investigator? Remember, Kash Patel also worked with Congress to uncover the Russian collusion hoax. Who was at the heart of the Russian collusion hoax? The FBI. So let's get Kash Patel in there. And then whoever is the Attorney General, and I came up with this idea yesterday, and I'd be curious what you think about this. Whoever the Attorney General is, I would like to see them hire on Darren Beattie of Revolver News as, director of compliance. I don't know, director of transparency inside the Department of Justice. Let Darren Beattie go in and root out all this stuff. There has been no better investigator into the Department of Justice than Darren Beattie over at Revolver News. He, too, knows exactly where to go look, but he's been stonewalled. Now you let these people on the inside, we shape this whole place up. To me, it makes absolute sense. Hey, folks. Let me tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals. Colonial Metals is where I want you to go. The QR code disappeared here. I don't know why, but Colonial Metals is where I want you to go. Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com, freegoldguide.com /grant, 800-458-7356, 458-7356 is the number to call. And again, spending is going to be key. We're not going to cut the spending we need to cut in order to get the dollar back in check. That's not happening under President Trump. So we know if you want to hedge against all of that, a devaluation of the dollar, gold is where to go. Remember, gold went up on it during the Trump years. Went up a lot. Gold has stood the test of time as a portfolio protection maneuver. Talk to my friends over at Colonial Metals about this. Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguy.com/grant, 800-458-7356, 800-458-7356. That's where to go, and I promise you they will take care of you. I know they will. And let me see here. Yeah. Colonial Metals Group, 800-458-7356, freegoldguide.com. They're great guys. I know them all personally. Now's the time. We're coming into the holidays. You got some money. You want to take that IRA, 401k, shift it over into a precious metals portion of it. They can help you with Colonial Metals Group. freegoldguide.com/grant. Pay them a visit today. All right. With that, let's talk now more about this situation with the judges. The judges are completely out of line here. Now, when I say the judges, I mean the senators approving the judges. The judges are out of line. They're radicals. Joe Biden has appointed a whole bunch of late appointments to take federal seats. Now, remember, a judge sits on the bench for a lifetime. They have the ability to change the face of America for the rest of their lives. We have to stop every single one of them from taking their seats. It doesn't make any sense to me that we would put these judges into office. It doesn't make any sense at all. And yet, what do the Republicans do? Republicans now make some late night deal. They're going to give Joe Biden 4 district court seats they'll approve through as long as they lay off the 4 appellate seats that President Trump will then be able to fill when he gets into office. Now, why isn't President Trump filling all 8 seats? We have virtually 2 months before President Trump takes office. The American people have spoken. They don't want Joe Biden picking judges. They want President Trump picking judges. I understand it's the end of Joe Biden's term, but this has changed now. He's not going to be the next president. The people have said, we don't want Joe Biden picking judges. We want President Trump picking judges. The Republicans in control of the Senate need to honor that. Yet they don't. This is Mike Davis on with my buddy Roger Stone. And he talks to Mike about this situation. And listen to what Mike Davis has to say.
The American people elected President Trump in a landslide, 312 electoral votes. The American people put 53 Senate Republicans to run the Senate. The American people wants constitutionalist judges. They do not want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's radical judges. And we are at the bottom of the barrel for these Biden and Kamala judges, the judges who have not been able to get through for the last 4 years. Now we're at the bottom of the barrel. And now these Senate Democrats led by Chuck Schumer are trying to jam them through to lifetime appointments to critically important federal courts of appeals during this lame duck session. So Senate Republicans must show up to work. They must debate, force Democrats to spend 2 days of post-cloture debate on these circuit court judges and 4 hours of post-cloture debate on these district court judges and grind the Senate to a halt. Do not let Joe Biden appoint these lifetime appointed radical bottom of the barrel judges.
What do you think the Republicans did under Mitch McConnell, John Thune? They made a deal. And then they looked in the camera and told us this is a great deal. President Trump's going to get 4 of these appellate judges. It's not a great deal. A great deal is not letting the Democrats have any appointments and President Trump getting all 8. And that's not even a great deal. That's what's supposed to happen. if you have fighters in the United States Senate. And again, do you see what I'm saying? This all gets back to what happened with Matt Gaetz, that the biggest challenge to the Trump presidency is going to be Republicans, RINO Republicans, Republicans in name only. Look, these judges can affect so many things. Environmental policy, business policy. They set standards that will stand the test of time until they can be overturned at some point by a Supreme Court. Why are we letting him have any of these federal appointments? To me, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, it is completely out of line. So this is Rick Scott talking about stopping the confirmations. But where were you, Rick? It didn't happen.
We're going to show up. Republicans need to be a brick wall to these radical Biden nominee picks, or judicial picks. They're not people that should be judges. They're right at the end of the administration because they've been so controversial. So I think all my colleagues are going to show up. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to use every procedural move to make sure that these nominees do not get through. And then Donald Trump will have the choice to pick people that believe in following the law, believe in judicial restraint. So I'm very optimistic that everybody's going to show up and we're going to block these judges.
Well, guess what? Everybody didn't show up. You had 5 Republican senators who didn't show up, including J.D. Vance, by the way, didn't show up. So what is going on? J.D. Vance, Ted Cruz, my senator here. Love the guy, but where are you? Steve Daines, I think, was one of them. Why are you not showing up? So the judge gets, one of the judges thinks child rape laws are racist. Now, do you think that guy should be sitting on a federal bench? Absolutely not. No way, shape, or form should a guy like that be sitting on the federal bench. So Steve Bannon talks about all of this, really relating it back to the Gaetz situation of him having to step down. And he's with me. He calls it a casualty.
And we took a casualty today. One of the best warriors we have, in all his imperfections, and he's quite imperfect, as Donald Trump is imperfect, as Stephen K. Bannon is a super imperfect, and Tucker Carlson, and Vivek Ramaswamy, and Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., all of it. Very, very, very imperfect instruments. But in that imperfection is some of their power. We took a casualty today. One of the reasons we took a casualty, I hate to say it, let me be brutally frank, you can't stick these people out there with no air cover. What are we doing? You can't stick them out there and take them off television. They're the best at selling themselves. You take them off television for 5, 6, 7, 8 days, and it's nothing but incoming. Where is the plan, and where is the execution of the plan? It's a big defeat for President Trump today, and trust me, those demons and jackals and hyenas up there in the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell, that crowd, they know it. Yo, they know it. Short commercial break. Back in.
Steve Bannon's right there with me on this one. It is a hit. Now, who's making the decisions to take Matt Gaetz off of TV? That's where he shines. I hope they don't do this to Pam Bondi. She's great on TV as well. Pam Bondi doesn't come off as a slick politician. She comes off as a genuine individual who supports the rule of law. She will be her own best defense on TV. I'm with Steve Bannon on that. Don't take people off TV. Let them go out and do their thing. And let them do it in a manner where we're successful with it. But we better get ready for the fight of our lives, folks. It's going to be the fight of our lives the next 4 years. So while Joe Biden was in, it was a fight. It's going to be just as big as a fight now. I promise you it's going to be just, if not a bigger fight. Because now they're down and out. Now they're going to be kicking, screaming, and clawing to do everything they can to try to take this country back. I want to talk about, here, let me talk a little bit about what happened in Dallas. I told you about this situation that the election in Dallas County. Now, I want you to consider this. If the Democrats were able to steal Texas, the whole house of cards falls for everyone. I mean, I don't think Republicans ever win again. We know that. So we got to be vigilant when it comes to Texas. We're not right now. Luckily, President Trump overwhelmed and swamped the vote, but I think they were trying to steal votes in Dallas. Here's why. Leading up to the election, early voting, Dallas County machines had failed the logic and accuracy test. No explanation to why they failed this test. No explanation as to what they were doing to make sure they were going to fix it. Proof of the pudding, early voting comes around. A lot of the e-polling machines totally malfunctioned, causing mass chaos in Dallas. Luckily, it wasn't happening when I went to vote, but it was chaos. Dallas came up with a rule, no matter where you are in the county, you can vote in any one. It's not precinct level voting. You go vote anywhere. They'll print your ballot out for your specific location. So, you may have a congressman. You live here in Dallas versus a different congressman in a different district in Dallas. As long as you vote in the county, they'll print out your ballot. You'd think that's a good idea until 1,000 votes had been cast and they realized they were printing out the wrong ballots. This tells you that most Americans don't even know who their congressman is. They don't even know who they should be voting on. But 1,000 ballots were run and voted on. They were the wrong ballots. Huge problem. In high turnout Republican locations, yes, there are some in Dallas. It's a blue city, but yes, there are some. They forgot to open up the boxes. When you feed the ballot in, it drops into a box. The box needs to be open. If the box is closed, you feed the ballot in, the ballot jams. The ballot jams, the ballot jams. Apparently, in these high Republican districts, they didn't open the box. They just had jammed ballots. You think that's a coincidence that it's only in Republican areas that they're jamming ballots up? I don't. 19 early voting locations had to have their ballots rescanned. And then you look at the reconciliation of votes. In 3 locations, 500 ballots were missing when you came to the reconciliation. And apparently they didn't want to use the logbook to reconcile. They only wanted to use the e-polling machines to reconcile, which the logbook would have been tell you exactly how many people showed up because it's got your signature next to it. One example, the first count came in with 18,007 votes. They recount it, and it comes out with 16,678 votes, a difference of 329 votes. This is just one voting location. They count it again, and it comes up with 18,009, 2 off, 2 more, by the way, than the first. We haven't had it match once. So what is it? How many people voted? If you don't know, and this is in Dallas County, one of the largest counties in America, you better believe this is happening in other counties across the country. I promise you. So Lieutenant Colonel Allen West is the chairman of the Dallas County Republican Party in Dallas. He was the Texas Republican Party chair. He's in Dallas, and he's screaming and yelling. We need somebody to get in here and check things out. Nothing. Secretary of State, a Republican in Texas. You think they would listen? Nothing. Remember Brad Raffensperger in Georgia, this deceitful, this talk about a rhino, Republican in name only, did everything he could do to fight President Trump and recount, and Georgia was a mess. Is this what we have in Texas? The Secretary of State would not go visit Dallas. It doesn't make any sense. The reason I tell you about just the city of Dallas, county of Dallas, is because if it's happening there in a red state with a Republican Secretary of State, you better believe this is happening all over the country. And I think many people did not know it. Not uncovered. We're not where we need to be when it comes to election integrity. We're not always going to have a guy like President Trump able to swamp the vote. So we got to figure something out, folks. We have got to figure something out on this front. All right, let me tell you about my friends over at causanow.com/Grant. I want you to become a member today. Here's why I want you to become a member. This is about taking back your country. This is about, literally, folks, this is about taking market share away from China, restoring faith in American products. This company is in America, based in America, owned and operated by a family. They've got just about every single household product you could need, from dish detergent, floor cleaner, soap, toothpaste, coffee, you name it, they got it. It's like an Amazon for conservatives. It's really for everybody, but conservatives are going to love it. causanow.com/Grant, delivered straight to your door. Just make the order. I even think the prices are cheaper when I look at stuff. I really do. And non-toxic. They have meat, right, without the hormones. Great, great, great meat. I guess the butcher shop, I'd call it. It's fabulous. And all these products are fabulous. I give them to my family because they love them so much. causanow.com/Grant. Become a member. Fill out the form. They'll get right in touch with you, see how you can help take America back. I mean it. By being a member here, you're helping take America back. All right. Let's move to COP29. You know what COP29 is? The Conference of Parties. It's a UN conference, typically on the climate. Well, this year you would be happy to learn they really had a hard time bringing guests in. A real hard time. President Trump gets elected. They realize their Green New Scheme isn't going to work, and they could only dig the bottom of the barrel with people like old Al Gore.
And if you think about how bad the political knock-on consequences of a few million have been in triggering xenophobia and ultranationalism, it's difficult to imagine what 1 billion climate migrants would be.
Migrant climate crisis. So what Al Gore is telling you is that all the illegals coming to America, they're concerned about the climate crisis. Let's go to America. Well, if you believe the left, America is engaging in the climate crisis. Why would you come here? Why? I got to believe Costa Rica has less effect on pollution than the United States does. Why are you coming to the United States if we're so bad? Well, the reality is we're not so bad, and they're not coming here because of a climate crisis. I promise you, you go to the border today and you ask every single one of those people coming across it if they're coming here because they're afraid of climate change. The answer, my friends, is going to be no, and I promise you it's going to be no with a big, giant N-O. This guy wants to go on about agriculture and food being a threat to the climate. Well, what do we need a climate for if we can't eat? We'll all be dead. Oh, that's what they want. They want us all dead.
So many organizations around the world collaborating to set, to define a common vision and a set of priority actions across production, consumption, protecting and restoring nature, and food loss and waste, calling for all non-state actors to take urgent action immediately to transform our food system to deliver much better outcomes for people, nature, and climate.
So basically what he's saying is do away with our food supply. Stop farming. You know, they wanted to go with the Bill Gates model of everything is concocted in a factory. Nobody's going to have jobs anymore. And it gets worse. So Jennifer Granholm showed up. Remember Jennifer Granholm? She's the energy secretary. Now, it's amazing. Joe Biden puts in charge of our energy department a woman who hates energy. She literally is waging a war on fossil fuels. But she's in charge of our energy department. I was listening to Milton Friedman, the great free marketeer. This is what a dork I am. When I can't sleep at night, I watch Milton Friedman videos. And he was talking about the government agencies we could do away with. And the Department of Energy was one of them. He says, just take the nuclear capacity of the Department of Energy, put it under Department of Defense, because after all, that's really what the nuclear aspect of Department of Energy is. Put it under Department of Defense and do away with Department of Energy altogether. The good news would be we wouldn't have to have a woman like this working in government.
This time around, we're feeling even more bullish about the trajectory of the clean energy revolution. 7 years ago, the United States withdrew from the Paris Agreement. But around the world, our partners came together to lead where our country would not. And back at home, states and cities and businesses stepped up to fill the void. And they kept the U.S. climate movement alive by taking every action available to them at the local level.
Yeah, and killing the American economy along the way. Thanks, Granholm. These people are lunatics. You understand? Lunatics.
The clean energy economy kept growing then, and it's going to keep growing now, even further and faster than it did, because today, the political economy around the clean energy transition, the actual economics of this transition is inexorable. What the Biden-Harris administration has created and done and achieved is a new economic playbook that has strengthened energy security and has bolstered economic growth.
It does just the opposite. The Green New Scheme does not bolster an economy. I don't need to tell you all of this. You know that. Now, I did see a funny headline because I was wondering what is going to go on with this. So we know that RFK Jr. is taking over Health and Human Services. But Health and Human Services has a climate change officer who is now vowing, according to Breitbart, to resist President Trump's reforms. This is the head of the HHS Climate Change Office. Why does HHS have a climate change office? But here's the thing. What is RFK Jr. going to do about that? Because we know RFK Jr. is a climate zealot. He's going to be great, as we talk about a lot. And I got a lot of podcasts coming up with RFK Jr. Talking about what he needs to do. Next week, Dr. McCullough is coming on to talk about what RFK Jr. needs to do. And there's a lot of things. I mean, for Big Pharma, this is like letting the wolf in the hen house, right? So he's still a climate zealot. What is he going to do? Is he going to do away with the climate change office inside HHS? My guess is he might not. Maybe this climate change officer knows that he's going to have an ally in RFK Jr. I don't know. I truly hope not, really, in the end, is the truth. I hope not. All right, folks. Hey, before I let you go, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That's where I want you to go. They provide the service to my cell phone. In fact, I have two lines on this phone and one phone. One phone, two lines, two different networks. So no matter where I am, it works. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That is the website, PatriotMobile.com/Grant, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You can choose the network you want to be on, so it's the same great service. You know, my girlfriend, my very special lady friend, was concerned about switching. I told her switching is so easy. You literally call them up. They give you a code. You punch it in. Boom, you're up and running in seconds. You don't have to worry about doing it at the store. It's not a problem with Patriot Mobile. Customer service is fabulous. It's all U.S.-based. And you know that every dime that you pay to Patriot Mobile, a portion of it will go to conservative causes. And that's about a parallel economy and what it's all about. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code Grant for a free month service. And I promise you, you will not regret it. All right. Next week, we move into the holiday week. Do you know there's people out there telling you not to talk to your family about politics? And that if some of them are saying, if your family voted for Trump, don't go visit them. What the heck is that about? Now, I have family members who don't vote for Trump. My dad has Trump derangement syndrome. It's very sad because this is a guy I had great respect for, and I can't figure out what's going on, and it's sad for me, this giant of a man, a guy that is such a titan in business and taught me so much I know about business acumen and life. And then he votes for Joe Biden. And I said, what is going on? I just don't get it. Like, I'm totally disappointed. But I'd still go home. I'm not, by the way. But I would. I would not go home, but this is the left. They're such sore losers. So here's the thing. Again, just to bring this back full circle. The satanic attack that we are under is not over. The fight will only get bigger. The honeymoon is over for President Trump. We saw that with Matt Gaetz getting forced out. The deep state and the RINOs are very, very real, and they will be actively working to take down President Trump. Yes, take him down. They certainly will be working to stop him from implementing his agenda. That's where we come in. That's where our voices come in. That's where we can be loudmouths about all of this. Squeaky wheel always gets the grease, and we're going to be bold and unapologetic about it. Please join me in that. All right? But we're in a good spot heading into the new year, right? So as you go to Thanksgiving next week, what are you grateful about? I told you yesterday or the day before, think about what you're grateful for, not the basics, right? I'm grateful for my family's health. I'm grateful for my son's health. I'm grateful for my son and my very special lady friend, and I want her family to be healthy too, like all of that. But think about the not so basics. Like, what are you really grateful for? Maybe there's somebody at work you're grateful for. Say a prayer for them. But think about it. I'll tell you what I am grateful for, though. I'm grateful we won this election. It's going to make my life a lot easier over the next 4 years, even though it's still going to be a battle. I told you, people ask me, oh, you calm down? Is it less work now that... Not really. I still have the same amount of content to fill. The only thing that's lifted is the weight. I feel like there's a calmness that has come over this country, but that's not going to last. You watch. They're going to ramp it up, and we better be there to fight back, baby. We better be there to fight back. All right, folks, I appreciate you all watching. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks to all of you. God bless every single one of you. Have yourself a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you here next week. Oh, don't forget Real America's Voice Show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, it's body language night. I got the body language guy coming on tonight. If there's anybody you want to see the body language analyzed, put it in the chat real quick before I cut this off. Who do you want to see us analyze body language of? Any big speech this week? It's always kind of hard to come up with good ones. So put that there in the chat. But the body language guy is great. All right, folks, I want you to enjoy your weekend. We appreciate you. God bless every single one of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks for watching, everybody.